I'm so glad you're here. Imagine what it would be like if you were able to quickly and easily get your drinking under control without labels, steps, or meetings. I'm going to teach you the secret of how myself and hundreds of thousands of people just like you have found freedom from alcohol, even when nothing else worked. So many of us are successful in so many other areas of our lives, but for some reason, we cannot seem to kick this one thing, alcohol, that's holding us back. No more. In the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to show you how to defeat your desire to drink on the way to reconnecting with your highest self. Once I teach you this proven method, you'll be able to decide for yourself how much or even if you want to keep alcohol around. You will be in control. Traditional recovery methods declare that you need to have a rock bottom experience in order to change your relationship with alcohol. They say that you have to accept your powerlessness in the situation. And I don't know about you, but that never sat right with me. The good news is that it's actually just not true. You can make a change whenever you want to. You are not powerless. And after you learn this proven method, you'll be able to make conscious decisions about what role, if any, alcohol continues to play in your life. Do you have to quit drinking entirely? You decide. This approach is for you if you're unhappy for any reason with the role that alcohol is currently playing in your life. Maybe you've tried cutting back and found yourself slowly drinking more over time. Maybe you've started to notice health problems, or maybe it's starting to impact your relationships. Maybe you feel like you just can't do life without relaxation in a glass. Maybe you feel like you want to cut back, but you're afraid that your social life will suffer. How are you going to network and socialize and meet new people without alcohol? I'm about to teach you how to cut back or quit and still feel relaxed, fun, confident, and fulfilled. So let's do it. My name is Jonathan Ball, and I drank more than I was happy with for the better part of 2 decades. My friends and family didn't really know that I was struggling with my drinking, and no one looking at me from the outside would have been able to tell you that I was anything other than successful, happy, creative, and free. On the inside, though, I was suffering. I was starting to notice some health problems. I was exhausted and anxious all the time. Occasionally, it would cause problems in my relationships. And so I decided to try to make a change. I would try to cut back, but then I found myself thinking about drinking even more than when I wasn't trying to moderate. Eventually, the rules and restrictions that I put on myself would give out, and I'd find myself drinking as much or even more as before. I felt like I'd never figure out how to beat this. And after years of trying and failing, I had an incredible breakthrough. And now I use what I learned to help others reshape their relationship with alcohol quickly and easily. I learned that quitting felt so impossible for me because I was going about it all wrong. I thought maybe I was broken or I had some kind of genetic difference that made it possible for everyone else to just happily keep on drinking what they liked. And I was over here trying to do the same thing and struggling. Or maybe even though I had discipline in every other part of my life, maybe I wasn't disciplined enough to beat booze. I was trying my hardest to make the right choice for my health and for my family and for my professional life. But it always seemed like when it came to booze, my willpower just ran out so quickly. Turns out I was looking at it all wrong. I had the wrong goal. And so I was using the wrong tools. Once I shifted that, everything changed. And I'm here to show you how. I had been doing tons of online research and I ran across a method that addressed the desire to drink at the root. I learned that I needed to treat myself with care, compassion, and curiosity in order to do the deep work, rooting out those subconsciously held beliefs that kept me stuck in the bottle. I found real freedom from craving alcohol. My health is now excellent, my marriage is better than ever, and I'm excelling at work. I'm more creatively productive than at any other time in my life. The process totally changed my life, and I became obsessed with finding out how this happened to me and how I could help others find the joy and freedom that I have. I had to know how this method, which I eventually found out is called effective liminal psychology, I had to know how this worked. So this is pioneered by Annie Gray. She's the author of This Naked Mind. Highly recommend. And it's essentially the science of emotion and behavior change. It's based on the latest discoveries in the fields of psychology and neuroscience. And now it's how I help my clients find freedom from the behaviors that are holding them back. And so, without further ado, here is the secret formula for changing your relationship with alcohol for good. Get excited. We start by stopping the war within. When you're drinking more than you want to, it causes a great deal of pain. On the one side, you know drinking is hurting you and you're ready to make a change, but at the same time, you find that you cannot easily stop. One side of you is done with booze and the other side of you still wants it. That's called cognitive dissonance, and it's a very tough and very painful spot to be in. It actually takes up a lot of our energy. And so, in order to use that energy towards something more productive, we make a truce with the two warring sides of ourselves and we stop beating ourselves up for not being able to easily change. We end the war within. Next, in surfacing the subconscious, we get to uproot the subconscious thoughts and deeply held beliefs that keep us drinking. We have to examine the things that we think about alcohol, all those beliefs that we just take for granted, and we start to dismantle them. But it's not enough just to get rid of those beliefs that are holding us back. With our increased awareness, we learn how to instead embrace empowering beliefs. And then finally, to make sure that the whole project sticks, we work on building a joyous life. Without booze holding us back, we are free to shape the kind of life that we no longer want to escape from. I won't lie to you, it might be a long-term project to build a joyous life, but you are going to see positive impacts on your life very quickly once you start this process. So, why does this work when most recovery methods don't? Instead of focusing on behavior and using willpower or discipline to force a change in our lives, where we feel like we're white knuckling our relationship with alcohol, we instead focus on how we'd like to feel as it relates to alcohol. Because that's what we really want, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I want to feel like alcohol doesn't matter to me, or I want to feel empowered to drink as little or as much as I want, or I want to feel happy, healthy, clear, relaxed, creative without having to rely on a substance. And the latest behavior science is proving what we already kind of just know, that people do things because they feel like doing those things. Now I'm going to go into more detail with each step of the process, and I'm going to give you some tools to actually put this new learning into practice. In step one, when we end the war within, we need to deal with the cognitive dissonance of drinking more than we want to. We want to quit or cut down on drinking because we know that it makes us feel terrible, and we promise our loved ones and ourselves that we'll stop. But then frequently, we still find ourselves drinking too much. The pain of waking up with a terrible hangover is nothing compared to the pain of letting down the people you care about and letting down yourself. We cannot solve the problems in our lives when we're at war with ourselves. So, what do? This is a radical thing. We take the brave action of making peace with ourselves. We get to know, understand, and even show compassion for the side of ourselves that still wants to drink. We sit down with that side of ourselves and we ask them what it is that they feel like they need to protect us from. And we spend some time getting to know them. And eventually we can even get to the point where we can reassure that part of ourselves that we have it under control, that they no longer need to try to protect us from whatever it is that they're trying to protect us from. Maybe they're trying to protect us from feeling bored, or maybe they're trying to protect us from the rigors of the day. Maybe they're trying to protect us from feeling stressed out. we just sit down with that side of ourselves and we say, listen, I see you, I hear you, but I promise, got this. This process of showing self compassion and self curiosity, it might feel weird and it might be scary at first. Some of my clients even object, thinking that they are letting themselves off too easily. They feel like, what if they're too soft on themselves and they don't make the change that they're looking for? But I'm here to tell you, if bullying ourselves for our failures was going to work, it already would have. Next, we get to surface the subconscious. Carl Jung, one of the greats, said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. We all carry around deeply held beliefs of all shapes and sizes, and those beliefs form and shape our experience of reality. These beliefs go unquestioned, and they're so close to us that we really have a hard time distinguishing them from reality. That's the trick, though. These beliefs are not actual objective reality. They're the thoughts, stories, patterns that we engage in, that we tell ourselves again and again and again without question. We hold beliefs about alcohol, like as a substance. What does alcohol do for us? We hold beliefs that it helps us relax, that it helps us feel cool, that it helps us have fun or be creative. We also hold beliefs about alcohol as it relates to others, like I need booze to socialize, or people will think I'm weird if I don't drink, or I'll never get loose enough to attract a partner if I can't get the liquid courage to go talk to them. In this process, we go through and we systematically address and break down those beliefs about alcohol as a substance, as a chemical that does things for us or doesn't, and alcohol as it relates to society. But the most interesting and the deepest and most important work that we get to do is to address the beliefs that we have about alcohol as it relates to ourselves, capital S, self. What about myself am I trying to navigate by using alcohol? Once we know what these beliefs are, and once we're aware of them, we can actually do something with them. But it's not enough to merely identify these subconscious beliefs that are holding you back. We need to build in and reinforce new ones. We need to learn to embrace empowering beliefs, and we bring those new beliefs in using a process called the ACT technique. ACT stands for awareness, clarity, and transformation. This technique works great as a journaling frame, but it can be just as effective as a meditation. And you'll get to the point where you're just running through this process without just in the regular course of your day. After we identify a belief that's holding us back, to increase awareness around that belief, we ask ourselves, is this belief true? Is this belief even mine? The next step of the process is to increase clarity around this belief. So we ask ourselves, when I hold this belief, how do I behave? What are my actions? And how do I feel when I hold this belief? And then finally, we get to transformation. Is there another more empowering, more healing angle on this belief? So, for instance, if I believe that I have to have alcohol to have a good time, then in awareness, we ask ourselves, is that true? Well, is it true that I need alcohol to have a good time? Well, no, I've had good times without alcohol and I've had bad times with alcohol. So I guess it's not totally true. Is that belief even mine? Well, culturally, I think that that's a very widely held belief. I learned that belief through my family. Hmm. When I hold the belief that I need alcohol to have a good time, how does that make me feel? Well, it makes me feel like if I'm not having alcohol, then I must not be having a good time. How does that belief make me act? That makes me reach for a drink, even though I know it's not good for me. In transformation, can we find another more empowering, healing angle on that belief? Maybe alcohol is not necessary for a good time. Maybe I can choose to have a good time without alcohol. Our beliefs shape our lives in profound and important ways. And so, why shouldn't we be active in choosing those beliefs that will serve us best? Here's the most exciting news I can give you: you will not always struggle with alcohol the way you're struggling with it right now. Dealing with alcohol is the gateway to accessing so many new and exciting parts of your life. As you tackle the seemingly impossible thing, getting over this behavior that is holding you back, this is only the first piece of evidence that will prove to yourself that you are capable of shaping the life that you want to lead. The best way to make sure that your change as it concerns alcohol sticks, you build a life that you no longer want or need to escape from. You build the life where you are free, creative, productive, and empowered. On the way to building that life, though, you might run into a couple of speed bumps first thing, and you might be experiencing them right now. So let's talk about some of the things that get in the way. It might be hard to imagine making a change with your relationship with alcohol because you feel like you needed to relax. Alcohol is a wild substance. It does all these crazy things in your body. And yeah, initially it floods your body with dopamine and it starts to slow down how quickly neurons fire and make connections. And so that can give you a brief sensation of relaxation. Usually that lasts for about 20 minutes or so, but that's not all alcohol does. Our bodies love to be in balance. So as soon as your body understands that it's being artificially slowed down, it tries to create more balance by jacking things up. It starts to flood your body with stress hormones. And that's actually responsible for that terrible anxiety feeling after you have a night of drinking. The more you know and learn about what alcohol does in your body, the more obvious it is that no amount of alcohol is healthy, as the World Health Organization has been saying for the last couple of years. Another common objection is that they can't imagine having fun without alcohol. And I mean, the people who profit off of booze certainly want you to believe that's true. It seems to be the message in our society. But if you examine that belief, you probably already know that it's false. Think back to when you were a child. Think back to all the fun that you had when there wasn't a drop of alcohol in sight. Think back to the good times. Now, real talk, when I stopped drinking, I started to notice that some of the things that I thought were fun while I was drinking weren't actually that fun. There are even some people that I discovered that weren't fun and were really just a good hang because we were both too drunk to notice that we weren't having fun. The truth is, in those situations and with those people, it was never that fun to begin with. And the alcohol was just making it tolerable. Alcohol has this way of kind of evening everything out. But I'd rather know that those situations or those people weren't actually that fun so that I can make new choices that are actually fun. I get to pick my fun. Another worry that a lot of people have when it comes to changing their relationship with alcohol is that their friends will judge them or think that they're weird. And experience shows this is rarely the case. Actually, people tend to really respect those that go their own way and are sure of themselves. It makes you more attractive. The truth is that the people in your life who might have a really strong reaction or notice that you aren't drinking aren't really thinking about you at all. They're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about their own relationship with alcohol. They perceive you holding yourself to a higher standard, and it might make them uncomfortable. But you'll learn as you work through this process that their emotions or reactions to your choice aren't really your responsibility. Understanding that at a deep level, internalizing that this is your journey, frees you from those feelings of social anxiety, especially over time, especially with practice. To recap, the most effective way that thousands of people just like you are flipping the script when it comes to managing their drinking is to end the war and make peace with the various sides of yourselves. Then we get to surface the subconscious. We dig into all the hidden beliefs that we're just caring about without question, especially as it relates to alcohol, and most importantly, as it relates to ourselves. Then we replace those beliefs that no longer serve us by instead embracing empowering beliefs. And finally, we continue to work and reinforce by building a joyous life, a life that we don't feel like we need to escape from. This method changed my life, and now I use it every single day to change the lives of my clients. At each step of the way, I teach my clients specific, concrete, actionable tactics that support their progress. The clients that work with me not only get one on one confidential coaching as they reshape their relationship with alcohol, but they also get practical tactics to make the journey more successful. Out of hundreds of tactics, a couple of quick ones in the early stage where you're ending the war within that might help you as you work to find freedom from alcohol are called WAIT and Playing the Movie Forward. WAIT stands for What Am I Thinking? And it's all about giving yourself a mindful pause when you notice yourself going to pour a drink. The bigger the space we can build in for ourselves between subconscious impulse and action, the better chance we give ourselves for conscious decision making. It's all about increasing the space. Another is to play the movie forward. If you're in the early days and experience cravings, by the way, they don't stick around. But if you're in the early days and you're experiencing a craving, a powerful tactic is to play the movie forward. Imagine what the next few hours and even the next day will feel like. Is it worth it? Do you really want to engage in that action? If you can wait out a craving for 15 or 20 minutes, then research shows they tend to just drop off and you can go about your day as normal. Now, each of my clients is different and has their own needs and struggles, which is why the people who experience the most success choose to work with me one on one. So I invite you to imagine with me. Imagine being able to wake up every morning feeling clear headed, energized, and proud of yourself, ready to face the day. Imagine freedom. Imagine finally feeling free from the constant pull of alcohol and knowing that you are in complete control of your life. Imagine not needing to hide your drinking habits or make excuses to your friends and family anymore. If you're ready to make a positive change for your future self, if you're ready to choose freedom, and if you want personalized and proven support to make sure that you are successful, if you're ready to commit financially to your personal transformation, I encourage you, use the button below to book a free discovery call with me today. On the call, I can answer any questions you might have, and we can talk about what working together would look like. Book your free discovery call now. Don't wait. Take inspired action now, and your future self will always look back on your present self with gratitude. I'd love to meet you, hear your personal story and struggles, and figure out how we can work together to make your success inevitable.